What God cannot do.
does not exist.
I said what God cannot do. I told myself I wasn't going to cry today, but here I am. Good morning, Big Mommy, the executive director, the chairman of the occasion, who is also my father, Engineer David Podosu, the coordinating head of schools, Sir Dr. C.C. Ikemka, the head of secondary, Dr. Gabriel Ezeka, the principal of Charles Hill Memorial International School, other distinguished members of the high table, respected teachers, parents and guardians, fellow students and the graduating class of 2026. Orion, please put your hands together for yourself. I believe I'm not an unfamiliar face on this stage. I remember the very first time I stood here 4 years ago when I was privileged to deliver a speech for the first graduating class of Bereton Montessori Secondary School, the class of 2022. That was where it all began. At the time, all I could do was daydream about the day I would finally be able to graduate myself. Since then, this podium has witnessed many different versions of me, whether it's a talk show host, a student mistress of ceremonies, a performance poet, a dancer, and eventually, your head girl. During my inauguration in 2024 as the head girl, I ended my speech with the words, "Until we meet again." Well, here we are again. Except that this time it's different. This is not another assembly, event, show, or inauguration. Today marks the end of a chapter that has shaped me into the person I am now and will become. It is the closing of a story that began many years ago with a young girl standing on this very stage who just wanted to be anything she put her mind to. Today also marks the final time I stand before you as a student of this school. And I can't think of any greater honor than to do it as the valedictorian of the class of 2026. Growing up, I never really saw myself the way others sometimes did. I was often more focused on what I had not achieved than what I had already accomplished. In fact, I often felt like I wasn't good enough, that I had to do more, be more, and achieve more before I could truly be proud of myself. But over time, I began to understand that growth is not always about constantly proving yourself. It is also about learning to acknowledge how far you've come, even while you're still growing. First, I think I give thanks to God, the one who has guided my steps even when I could not see the way forward, and who has given me strength in moments when I had nothing left. No matter how many times I found myself far from him, he always pulled me back and delivered me from situations I could not have seen a way out of. He is the reason you and I are seated here today. Indeed, what God cannot do. Next, Mommy and Daddy, please can you stand up? I would like to thank my parents. Whose sacrifices, prayers, and unwavering belief in me carried me through every season of doubt and every moment of pressure. I thank you, Mommy, for your constant support. Even during my jam, I remember 2 days before I sat on her shoulder crying, thinking I could not do it. But she always motivated me to do better and always told me that I am enough. For being present in ways words cannot fully capture, and for never allowing me to give up on myself. Mommy, I want to say I love you and thank you so much. And to my dad, the chairman of this occasion, I want to thank you for the financial support for my education and careful teaching you have given me so that I can become the full package. Sound academically, spiritually, morally. You are the person who has given me all the values that is making me stand here today, not only as the valedictorian, but as a child of God and an all-rounder. Daddy, I want to say I love you so much. To my teachers, Miss Ijoma, Miss Shaibu, Miss Jane, Miss Blessing, Miss Goodluck, Miss Nike, Miss Ngozika, Miss Ngozi, Miss Mercy, Miss Legbossy, popularly known as Miss L, Miss Vicky, Mr. Onyemachi, Mr. Onoja, Mr. Chike, Mr. Kalu, and Mr. Samuel. I am sincerely grateful for your guidance. I am sincerely grateful for your guidance, patience, and encouragement. There were moments when I felt like stepping back, even from the time I ran for the head girl position. But you reminded me of my potential, believed in me when I struggled to believe in myself, and pushed me to keep going, even when I wanted to give up on myself. To my friends, thank you for standing by me, for the laughter, the encouragement, and the quiet understanding during some of the hardest days. I am especially grateful to the 5 friends who remained consistently by my side throughout this journey. Blessing, Soingo, and Geraldino. And also Victor and Sharon, even though they cannot be graduating with us today. Not everyone understood us. Not everyone agreed with us. Or not everyone supported us. But looking back, I am grateful for the moments because they revealed the strength of the friendship that we shared. So I want to say I love you guys so much. It saddens me to see this chapter come to an end as we all go our separate ways to pursue different paths in life. To the rest of the class, I give you my word that I will forever cherish the memories we created within these 4 walls of Bereton Montessori. I will never forget year 9 when, after finishing an exam, we would all contribute money for the class favorites, bole and fish. Before racing to see who could grab the most plantain in record time. Then there was the panic that raced through our hearts whenever Mr. Remy walked into class and said, "Open your test notes. We are writing tests today." In that moment, every prayer I renewed suddenly became relevant. I also cannot forget the year we became prefects and started acting like assistant principals. The moment a junior entered the classroom without greeting, the whole class would shout, "You cannot greet." It is funny to think that just a few years earlier, we were the same juniors trying our best to avoid getting caught. I remember when we would be in class and Sean would appear to be manufacturing several bottles of Fanta from his sweater. While Lara Barry would constantly yell, "Get in, Joe," as he ran around the school with Chituga, John, and Richard. Of course, no recollection of our class would be incomplete without Pedro, the guardian of forgotten assignments, who somehow remembered every homework, task, and found the perfect moment to remind the teacher, usually 1 minute before the end of the class, just when we thought we had escaped. To my IGCSE classmates, Memuna, Maximum, Rizon, and Pedro, thank you for your words of encouragement during moments when studying felt overwhelming. I'll never forget how we tried to escape our tightly packed schedules, or how we would borrow a mat from the home economics lab and sleep on the floor whenever exhaustion got the better of us. especially Memuna and I. I remember when the Obaseki twins, David and Daniel, joined us, and we spent nearly an entire week trying to tell them apart. There was a friendly rivalry with the other Bereton location. Anytime both campuses came together for an event, there was always an unspoken determination to prove that our side was just a little bit better. Looking back now, it's funny how seriously we took it, considering how we eventually grew closer than ever. Still, it made those moments more memorable. In year 10, when we would finish our exam, and outside, Victor will be waiting for us with his calculator in his hand, ready to perform a full statistical analysis for the class. Before most of us had even recovered from the exam, he was already calculating scores, predicting averages, and giving updates on the class academic rankings. Somehow, Victor always seemed to know where everyone stood academically before the teachers themselves did. Or in year 12, when Sharon's laughter could instantly brighten the entire room, as we desperately searched for ways to escape learning mathematics for what felt like the 7th time that week with Mr. Onyemachi. These may seem like small moments, but they are the memories that turned classmates into family and made our time here truly unforgettable. Many people see the certificates, awards, and titles, but very few see the late nights, the moments of frustration, the tears after disappointing results, and the fear of not meeting expectations. There were times when I felt overwhelmed by the pressure to succeed, like a few days before my job, where I couldn't stop breaking down and crying as the fear of failure seemed to engulf me. There were moments when I questioned whether all my efforts would be worth it. Yet those moments taught me resilience. They taught me that success is not about never failing. It's about refusing to quit when failure comes. It was in those moments I had my closest friends, Geraldino, Blessing, and Soingwa, and my mom was there by my side to motivate me. If I could speak to my younger self, I would hold her hand and tell her not to be so afraid. I would tell her to stop being so hard on herself, to stop measuring her worth by every grade, every achievement, and every expectation she felt she had to meet. I would tell her that it's okay not to have everything figured out. It's okay to make mistakes. It's okay to fall short sometimes. I would tell her that not every criticism deserves a place in her heart. And not every opinion deserves the power to define who she is. I would tell her not to spend so much time worrying about whether she's good enough, because one day she'll realize that she always was. I will remind her of the day she cried in silence, the day she felt so overwhelmed by pressure, the day she questioned her abilities, and the day she wondered whether all her hard work would ever amount to anything. I will tell her that those moments do not last forever. I will tell her that there will be challenges she never expected to face, disappointments she never imagined, and moments when giving up will seem easier than continuing. But I will also tell her that she is stronger than she knows. I will tell her that every obstacle, every setback, every tear, and every sleepless night will serve a purpose. That each experience will shape her into a stronger, wiser, and more confident version of herself. Most importantly, I will tell her to keep going, to keep showing up, to keep believing, to keep trusting God even when she cannot understand His plan. Because one day, she will stand on this very stage, looking out at the faces of people who have been part of her journey. She will stand here not because the road was easy, but because she refused to give up when it became difficult. She will stand here carrying every lesson, every memory, every victory, and every scar that has helped shape her story. And when she looks back, she will realize that every challenge was worth it. She will realize that the little girl who once dreamed of standing on this stage actually made it. And she will smile not because her journey was perfect, because despite everything she faced, she overcame it all. Today, that little girl is standing here. That little girl is standing here as the valedictorian of the class of 2026. And if there's one thing I would know for certain, is that that little girl is very proud of herself. To my academic rivals, Maximum and Geraldino, despite our academic disagreements, I will never forget how you two pushed me to be the best version of myself. Having to stay up as early as 6 a.m. to cover schemes and pass questions. It was all because of your push. Whenever I felt tired, I would tell myself, Daisy, Max and Gerald are still reading up until now, so I can't stop. I hope to meet more inspiring figures like you in the future. Lastly, let me use this opportunity to address my juniors. Perhaps you'll be rounding off in a year or two, or maybe your journey just began. I want you to look forward and push beyond your limits. Remember that there are always brighter days ahead. As I stand here today, I recognize who I have become through this journey. A young woman who believes in fairness and voice. A scholar shaped by discipline and persistence. And above all, a product of God's grace. Constantly growing, constantly learning, and constantly improving. Now, there are people in this crowd who did not believe that I would be here today. There are people in this crowd who wished it was someone else. I want to say that performance and records speak louder than expectations. As Ray once said, my favorite artist, the cold never lasts, my darling. It just teaches the heart how to burn. I will overcome. And by God's grace, I did. To the class of 2026, Orium, we arrived here as students, but we leave as leaders, dreamers, innovators, change makers. We leave here as legends. Legends who have broken records and set new ones. The future is waiting for us, and I have no doubts that we are ready for it. Thank you, Bereton Montessori Secondary School, for shaping us. Thank you to our teachers and parents for believing in us. And thank you, class of 2026, for making this journey unforgettable. Congratulations, Orium. Until we meet again.
Ladies and gentlemen, with a standing ovation, can we give it up for the valedictorian of the class of 2026, the Orium. That was awesome. Child. Aww. Yes, like the chairman said.